Hello, in this lesson, we're going to learn how to make arch cutouts using groups. Okay, it's going to be similar to our last lesson, except this time we're going to use a really curved archway as we push it through. Okay, so to start we need a cube, and I mean a perfect cube. So I'm going to start with a square, and I know it's a square because I get that little diagonal. And before I'm done, I'm going to go to the dimension box, and I'm going to type 10, the feet symbol, comma, 10 in the foot symbol again, and hit enter. So now I know I have exactly 10-foot square. Now the reason I did that is because now to make our cube, I'm going to use the push-pull. I'm going to push-pull that, and I'm going to type into the distance field 10 in the foot symbol. So now I know I have a perfect 10 by 10 by 10 cube. Okay? Alright, so the next thing we need to do is make this shape. Okay? So I think the easiest way to make that shape for me is to build a little square, then use a 2-point arc to expand on it. You then have to get rid of this little line right there. Okay? Now that's great, except some of you might notice it's a little off center. Okay, so what I'm going to do to center it is I'm actually going to select the face, just the face, take the move tool, and what I want to do is grab the center of our face, move it left to right, and once it's moving left to right, I'm going to hold down shift, and I'm going to move right to the midpoint of the top line. Okay, so that way I know that this shape is now perfectly centered in the face of the cube. Okay. Alright, a couple more steps to prepare. I'm going to zoom out a little bit, and then I'm going to use my push-pull tool to push out a little bit. Okay. Now I want you to go down underneath, and if this line does not appear right here between here and here, I want you to draw it in. So that's its own, structure. Alright. So next thing I want you to do is I want you to do a left to right selection. Okay, now what's important is you notice I've angled this so that there's nothing behind what I'm selecting. So again, I'm starting on my right, I'm going up to the left, and you notice it selects that whole feature. Now I can actually try moving this. If I grab the move tool, I can click to move my selected object, but what happens is no matter where I go, it only moves left and right along that plane. So I'm going to hit escape, and there's a little trick to break that kind of stickiness to the plane. What I do is I right click, and I'm going to choose make group. Now you'll notice this whole thing becomes a group. Okay? And now what I can do is I can click, and I can move it in, and I'm going to make sure I move in along the green axis so it's even. And when it looks about halfway, then I'm going to click. Okay? So again, we're stuck halfway through. Now, with it still selected, I want to take my rotate tool, and I'm going to take the rotate tool, grab the midpoint of the top of one of the square shapes, then I'm going to touch another, and it should kind of lock in place if I do this right. You notice we're kind of locked in place. Now, once you're locked in place at the center, hit Option, and click. Ooh. I'm actually going to re-center that one real quickly because I don't think I centered it properly. And if you're having a real tough time centering it, the easiest way to center this would be to draw a guideline corner to corner. And again, make sure that your group is pre-selected. Click to place it, hit Option. And if you'll notice what I'm doing by using the Option key is making a copy and rotating the copy. Okay. Now I am going to go and delete my guidelines because I don't need them anymore. Okay. All right. And you could very easily right now delete these little extra sections like so. Actually, not do that yet. What I want to actually do now is select everything, Command A, and go up to Edit and do Intersect Faces with Model. Okay? Now if I delete, you'll notice that the archway is still there. Okay, that shape is still there. And if I actually go through and look through it, there's nothing on the inside, and that's a problem. Okay? So there's a little trick that we can use. Now I'm going to Command Z to undo to where this point. Okay? So this trick is going to bring back the inside. So what I need to do is I'm going to click on one of the groups, right click or two-finger click, and do explode. Same thing with this next one. Right click on it, do explode. Then Command A to select everything. And I'm going to two-finger click on it and do intersect faces with model. Now, same idea. As long as I do a right to left selection with nothing behind it, I can delete what's on the outside, leaving me only what's on the inside. One more to do now. And we'll see, once I start deleting these outward faces, things are going to look a little different. Okay? You'll notice, boom, we have some inside there. And again, as I rotate around, you'll notice that we have something on the inside. Now we might want to get rid of those things on the inside here to reveal just the actual cube and what's left. Now the easiest way to do that is line up perfectly straight. Okay? Then what I want to do is I'm going to use a very, very thin right to left selection that just barely goes over that center line, and I hit delete. And I might have to do it again if it doesn't get everything through. But what's important there is you want to use very narrow and very small. Don't fill up the whole block or you'll end up getting things that are behind it. Now if you rotate around, you can do the same thing for this side. And you'll notice now we have our archways and they meet perfectly at the center and we have inside walls. Okay? So now that we have this first archway done, let's do this another way. I'm going to do this using a polygon. So I'm going to make a hexagon just over here, a little bit to the right of our first object. I'm then going to push pull. And I'm not too worried about the dimensions of this object, so I'm just doing it by eye. And then I'm going to create our same little archway cutout shape. Again, to do that, we start with a rectangle. Then I am going to use the 2-point arc to make our shape. I'm then going to delete the center line. I'm going to select our archway, and all I want to do now, select our archway from the center point and start to move it. And as we move, I want to make sure I move it to the midpoint of the bottom line. So if you look now, we kind of have the same basic structure. We have our shape and we have our archway. So you guys know now we can select our face. Okay? I could now take our rotate tool and move to the center. Now we want to make sure that we've selected this face first, because I did not do that ahead of time. Click, hit the Option key, boom, and we want to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 copies. So I'm going to make sure after I make the first one, I do 5x. And you'll notice now we've gone all the way around. Okay, I could have really simply just done 3x, okay, because I'm going to push pull these all the way through. So let's start with the push pulls though. I'm going to push pull this first one all the way to here. Okay, but what I want to do is make sure I hit Option first to keep a copy there. So again, on this one, I click Option, click, push it all the way to the back edge. And then on our third one, again, select the face, use push pull, click Option, click, push it around all the way to the other side. Now if I've done that right, you should see the new faces that have crossed through the center. Okay? Alright, so the next step should be select the whole entire small model, right click, and do an intersect faces with the model. Okay? So what should happen now is I should have all these internal structures created. So I should be able to, if I'm very, very careful on what I'm doing, look straight ahead, do a very narrow, okay, very, very narrow right to left selection to select it all. And I'm being as careful as possible just to get the bare minimum. I'm going to clean those things up in a little bit. Okay? So again, this one might be a little hard to get to. So why don't we do that one last? There's that one. Let's do this one here. So again, look on it straight ahead. Do a narrow. Boom. Clean up as needed. Just make sure you don't get through the top. If you do inadvertently select something that's on the top, you can always do a really simple Command D to get rid of it, or Command Z to undo it. And if you'll notice there, I selected a little too, actually I didn't select too much, that was way off through the back, so I'm going to Command Z that because I actually deleted something off of that model. So again, I need to get myself in the right position. And this is the toughest part, is actually maneuvering yourself to the right position so you don't catch stuff that's behind you in the model. Alright, so if you notice now, I've deleted everything on the inside. I was very careful about that. But if I rotate now, I just have a few extra stray lines that are hanging down, and those are just simply select, delete. Now if you inadvertently delete one of these lines by mistake, the whole face will disappear. Just Command Z it to bring it back. Just don't delete that line in the future. Okay, so just delete all the extraneous little extra lines. And once you're done, save your work and please upload it.